I recently came across one of Colin Cowherd's YouTube shows, his own channel, a project he does outside of FS1. That's his baby right there. In which case, that show in particular, he referred to JJ McCarthy as a C-level quarterback. Hey, JJ McCarthy, he's mid. And I said to myself, wow, that is a crazy thing to state. But I respect people's opinions. I respect them even more when they have real evidence to back it up, that they've done their research. I believe that JJ McCarthy could be great, and I could be wrong. He could be a failure. Colin Cowherd, he thinks he's mid, and he could be wrong at the end of the day, where JJ McCarthy could turn out to be great. I think he could turn out to be great. And in all fairness, I said this a couple of times on this channel, that when I first watched JJ in college, his senior year, I was saying to myself, man, I just don't see it. In fact, I didn't say it to myself. I said it on a live stream. I said, man, I just don't see it. But I realized in hindsight that when you look at who he played for, that is Jim Harbaugh. Every Jim Harbaugh-led team is a run-first offense, defense, and not relying too heavily on the quarterback, but to make the throws that are absolutely necessary. It's a very old school approach. He's done that everywhere he's been. That McCarthy played under Harbaugh, and dare I say, because the lack of volume of passes, that I was too premature in just saying, I don't think he's going to be that guy. But when I finally said, okay, take that away, who his head coach was. And by the way, it worked for Harbaugh. They won a national championship. But when I finally said, let me just focus on his throws. When he does throw the ball, what does it look like? And this man is a magician with the ball. Throwing passes, the way it slices through the air, perfect on the run to where, and the ball placement to where only his receivers can get it. He has the potential to be dangerous in this league. Now, with that said, I could be wrong about this. I think he could be great, but he could turn out to be a failure. But I think I provide sound evidence because, above all else, hey, JJ, you're no longer playing under the old school philosophy head coach that it is Jim Harbaugh. You're now playing under the quarterback whisperer himself, head coach Kevin O'Connell of the Minnesota Vikings, whose recent examples of being a quarterback whisperer, obviously Sam Darnold had his career best season, an MVP candidate as a starter. Nick Mullins, he's okay, I suppose. And you had Josh Dobbs, who you got the best 2 games out of his career under head coach Kevin O'Connell. And not to mention that Daniel Jones, when he got cut by the Giants, he chose to come to Minnesota knowing that he wouldn't have a chance to play. Why? Because I believe he knew that he was going to learn to be a better player, to reset his career, learn under KOC, so wherever it is that you go in 2025, you will be successful, or you will have a better chance to be successful. Colin Cowherd on JJ, mid-level quarterback. Okay. And I'm not even going to paraphrase his words. Let's hear from the man himself. Mind you, this goes back to June. It's not just the recent episode he did on his YouTube channel. This goes back to June, specifically June 11th. So a month and a half ago. Let's hear from his own words as far as why JJ McCarthy is nothing to raise hell about.
And there's too many conflicting reports on JJ McCarthy. So I just find the whole thing, there's a lot of stuff I just don't know. I feel sometimes there's a little bit of a spin job.
There's a lot of things I just don't know. And trust me, you're about to find out why.
Here, I will say this is, and I think J-Mac, you and I have had this discussion, to be a great franchise quarterback. And I think Jalen Hurts is probably 10th best in the league, but I do think he's a top 10 franchise quarterback. If you're top 10 in a league of 32 teams, you're good. There's got to be a trait. There has to be a wow trait. So let's just go through them. Mahomes, arm talent. Allen, sheer force of size. Lamar, athletic ability. Yeah. Stafford has one of the great arms in the last 30 years in the league. He's got a magical arm. Burrow, composure and accuracy, like as good as Brady in his prime if you look at the numbers and analytics. Herbert, big, strong, power arm. C.J. Stroud, accuracy, like just, moving left, moving right, moving forward. C.J. Stroud's accuracy since high school is insane. Hurts, strength, pound for pound, 600-pound squats. Kyler Murray, elusiveness. You start stacking up these quarterbacks, there's a trait. Like Elway, arm. Marino, arm. Aaron Rodgers, arm. Release. Go back and look at the people I trust. There's one or two things I never buy. I never buy this.
The people you trust. What about what you saw during the games that he played, Colin? And you're talking about all these quarterbacks with a strong arm. JJ McCarthy has a strong arm. The way it cuts through the air, the ball placement to where only his receivers have the best chance to make a play. This is wild to say. Go back to the people I trust. Did you watch the games? The man is a hell of a thrower.
When you say this about a quarterback, that guy is a winner. Everybody under Jim Harbaugh and Steve Spurrier and Nick Saban's a winner. I don't want to hear that. If you go back and look, his arm is modest. His escapability is modest. His release wasn't super quick.
His escapability is modest. That is crazy. If you actually watched the Michigan Wolverines, 2 years ago when they won the national championship, JJ McCarthy has really good pocket awareness and he moves around. In fact, that was one of the things that we were praising him for before he got hurt, is that he's the opposite of Kirk Cousins. He doesn't just stand there. He moves around. So to say it's modest, it just proves that you're just going off of scouting reports and what the experts say about JJ McCarthy in terms of being a prospect coming out of college, because we haven't seen him play a regular season game yet, but his escapability is modest. So he doesn't have a strong arm. His mobility within the pocket is mid, according to Cowherd. This is a clear example of someone who makes a take, and I get it, we're in the off season, so it's not much. Well, actually, now that training camp is ramping up for these 32 teams, there is stuff to talk about. But this was back in June. So to say something like what he just said about McCarthy, his escapability, his level as a passer, you can tell he doesn't really know what he's talking about.
Great trait. That's why I was always a Darnold fan. Darnold is tough with a big arm. He can be reckless, but there are times you watch Darnold, his ability to make big throws while moving is special.
You're only saying that because of what he did last year. I promise you, Colin, that you weren't talking about that, or you weren't talking like that about Sam Darnold until after what you just saw in the 2024 season. That's it. And he turned his career around. Now, whether he continues that magic in Seattle, we'll have to just wait and see. But I promise you, you never spoke highly of Sam Darnold. Maybe when he got drafted coming out of USC, and Colin Cowherd loves USC. But outside of that, I guarantee this is the first time that you've been raising all holy hell for Sam Darnold. Give me a break.
I don't get McCarthy's wow trait. Now, I like Jordan Love, but I think Jordan Love has an incredible arm. He's got a whip, and he's also super athletic. I don't see the...
You want to know a mid quarterback? Jordan Love. This is wild. You're sitting here beating down JJ McCarthy while giving praise to Jordan Love. He still has something that he needs to prove as a starting quarterback in this league.
Wow. There's got to be one thing where I'm like, oh, that's always been my knock on Purdy. Now, Purdy, they say cognitively, he's like Superman above the shoulders. Maybe that's it. But where's the wow with this guy?
I was going to ask you, like Purdy coming out of Iowa State, there was no wow. He gets to the NFL and his processing is wow. So can we see McCarthy play a real game? Not just preseason, not OTAs. Can we see him like play a real game? Maybe a trait will emerge. And he was a pretty mobile quarterback. Obviously not Josh Allen.
He's
on the
okay.
Ball. But I mean, how about this? There isn't anything he doesn't do well. He has a big arm. He's mobile. He can process. He showed everything at Michigan.
He did go read the scout. He doesn't have a big arm. He does not have a big arm.
Good enough arm.
He does not have a big arm. Go read the scout. Are you kidding me? What about the games? Clearly, you didn't watch him play at Michigan. That is an incredibly lazy suggestion or piece of evidence behind your opinion or your take on JJ McCarthy. No. He doesn't have that trait. Go watch the scouting reports. Are you kidding me? That's incredibly lazy for someone as well respected as Colin Cowherd. But again, back in June, in sports, it's basically dead. Nothing really to talk about. So you got to fill time on the air. But this is embarrassing. No. Go read the scouting report. They'll tell you. What about what your eyes told you? Oh, that's right. You didn't watch the games.
Doesn't have a big arm. He does not have a big arm.
Good enough arm. A good enough NFL arm.
His arm is considered modest. It is a middle of the pack arm, middle of the pack escapability. In fact, they question his release. His release at times could be a little plodding.
Oh my gosh. Where do you even start with this? His arm is mid-level. That is wild. Because if you actually watched him play in college, you would see he has a quick ass release and he has a powerful arm to the likes of which I say it's Brett Favrean, the way that it cuts through the air. It is a beautiful thing to see. It's almost like poetry. And this man's talking about, well, go read the scouting reports. Colin, go watch the games. You're better than this. So I had to break this down. Each and every ridiculous statement that he made in that clip. But again, recently on his YouTube show, and he's doubling down. He's a C-level quarterback. Ridiculous. Do better, Colin, because you're damn good at what you do in terms of the style of show that you do. You're too smart to be going down this road. If you want to say that he's mid, give me some better points or give me some better suggestions behind your take besides look at the scouting reports. That's like saying this player is great because look at his PFF score. Or he's bad because look at his PFF score. Stop it. That's ridiculous. Do better.